Chapter 34. Asking. The next day at school was a regular flow of classes and breaks was interrupted every hour on the hour with what must have been the most ridiculous parts of high school culture to date, the extravagant prom proposal. In my stated opinion of dances aside, I wanted to point out that this might be one of the only way for a guy to spend as much time and money on his prom as most girls do on their dresses alone, but still, it got out of hand in as many ways as possible. The first note was the senior having a literal red carpet rolled out from the seniors-only bathroom to his date's locker, where he must have changed into a tux. The whole ordeal was annoying because I had class and couldn't walk on the red carpet or make it past the throngs of people gushing at her quite obviously and unquestionable yes. The second was between two classes before lunch, which involved the booby-trapping of the date in question with a half-dozen air horns and confetti poppers. It scared the living daylights out of the students in the hall and the poor girl who opened it, just to see a hastily drawn poster and white card of stock of prom, ! Wedged in her lockers on the top shelf. Lunch was a bit quieter. A study group and I met and managed to get our Mexi fries and Sarah's salad, and we sat in the back corner of the cafeteria to get the best view of any prom proposal-based shenanigans. How are we getting Sean to prom? Kylie asked. Babe, the poor guy has no knees right now, Jay said. He's not going to be able to get to prom, let alone have fun at one. That reminds me, Mr. Loxley asked if we could help him get his schoolwork, so he can still graduate, Sarah said. I'm game, I said. We are too, piped in Kylie. It'll give us time to plan his prom with him. Jay and I traded glances, which got 2 tater tots from Kylie's Mexi fries thrown at us in sequence. What about you, Sarah? You officially taking this clown to prom yet? Jay said, slapping his shoulder. She sighed. As I've said on multiple occasions, I do not plan on going to prom. You have to go, and Chris needs a date anyway, Kylie whined. Yeah, come on, Sarah, Jay said, leaning over and squeezing my cheeks like his grandma. No, I don't want to go to a cheesy romantic prom with Chris and babysit you two lovebirds. They began to bicker, and then a sudden realization of our whole group's awkward friendship hit me. Jay and Kylie made sense as a couple, and Sean made sense to go alone. He had no apparent interest in females anyway. No real-life ones, that is. But Sarah and I were friends, though. Okay, sure, I wanted to be more, but this wasn't happening. So now at last, a grandiose proposal that outdid another in their extensions were emphasizing the romantic part of going to prom a bit too much. Sarah clearly didn't want that, so as the warning bell rang for classes, I blurted out, Sarah Perro, forcing Kylie to stop bickering and a general hush to fall over the group. Will you not go to prom with me? I'd rather not have a date. She just looked at me, like I had solved some puzzle or answered a riddle she was posing by being her beautiful self. She wanted to be asked like a friend, jokingly, and not with no traces of the faux romance that littered the halls and got blasted by air horns at the school right now. She smiled and said, You can't tell me what to do. We're not dating. I smiled, Oh? You can't. You can pick me up at 8 on prom night and we push Sean around the dance floor till they kick us out, she said, to the squealing delight of Kylie, and then she winked and got up to leave. What the hell was that? Jay asked. Not sure, I said, watching her leave ahead of us. But it worked. After school, Jabe and I drove his truck to the hospital and went through Sean's homework with him. Jay read the questions and I wrote the answers, and we asked Mr. Loxley about the details of how homework would work for Sean. He couldn't see past the bandages at the moment, and his hands were pretty banged up, so pens were out of the question. Mr. Loxley agreed that given the circumstances, he could and should trust us and felt like we could be trusted. Sean didn't trust us, though, double-checking each question between the two of us. He was essentially stuck inside his head right now, which must have been hard for a guy used to being voluntarily stuck on a computer screen. Jay, is he writing down what I said like I said it? Sean said from the hospital bed. Yes, you big nerd. Stop fussing, Jay said from the door frame he was leaning on. I can hear you by the door, Jay, Sean complained. Relax, Sean. We'll keep your GPA intact. I tried to reassure him. You had a 3.4, right? Sean sighed and shook his head. Sorry, guys. This has been kind of tough, says the guy on a morphine drip, Jay. Oh, Jay said. Oh, man, you have no idea. I can't feel my knees right now, Sean joked. A nurse came in and told us to keep it down, and we began checking his vitals. You asked Sarah yet, Weeks? Sean asked as the nurse poked and prodded his bandages and checked his IVs. Kind of, I explained. I told her not to go to prom with me. And it worked, Jay laughed. Damn, son, Sean sounded impressed, if not medically numb from the morphine. Surprised she didn't put you in the hospital here with me. Oh, no, I'm not doing homework for the two of you, Jay complained. I can't be both a genius and a depressing, hopeless romantic like Chris here. Hey, Sean and I both said. We're going to go, Jay said. Stay high, Sean, I joked, forcing a new groan-induced laugh from Sean and an awkward glance from the nurse. We kept up the visits as more and more bandages came off, and Shaw didn't look too bad. But walking was going to be a long way for him. I would leave the hospital each time thankful and sad for what could have happened, and didn't happen to Sarah and me. All the while, Sean's most reckless positivity kept us in good spirits. Chapter 34. Hope you guys liked it. Links for the books are in the description below, and we will talk to you guys soon.